Hello, and welcome to the WhiteStar Meets and Bounds extension demo for ArcGIS Pro. So to get started, you will have already installed the extension, and if you have been successful, WhiteStar Meets and Bounds is listed at the top along with WhiteStar Legal Mapper. Let's click on the WhiteStar Meets and Bounds extension. This will open a secondary ribbon that provides you a variety of options. The first thing we want to do is sign into the account with the credentials provided to you by WhiteStar. This will leave you signed in throughout your session. This will open a dialog box for doing the meets and bounds operations. The first thing we want to do is have a project in mind that we want to map. And by default, this is called Untitled Plat. We can select New and then give it a name, in this case, Tutorial Demo. The next thing we're going to want to do is open the deed for the tutorial demo. So we'll navigate to there. And the WhiteStar Meets and Bounds extension will open the PDF or the JPEG and then perform some basic OCR functions on it. You'll note in the panel that phrases of interest to us describing the geometry of the deed are highlighted in yellow. A couple of other things. If we go over to settings, we can see that we can enter the declination that applies to this deed at that time, 6 degrees, 40 minutes, 0 seconds east. And if we click edit, we can change this according to the declination that you desire. This is a global rotation that affects the rotation of all of your measurements. You can also come back and change this later. The next thing we're going to want to do is establish the deed's point of origin, which is different than the point of beginning. The point of origin is very often a section corner or some other point, which may be another parcel that you have or another land grid. We can also enter the legal description for the section corner. And if we look at the deed, we see that the origin is at the southeast corner of section 14, township 31 south, range 44 west in the 6th principal meridian. So we have a land description language we can use, which is documented on our website, by the way, underneath the white papers or additional resources. 6, Township 31 South, 44 West, Section 14, and it's the southeast corner. So I want to put 0 feet from the south line, 0 feet from the east line, and I will click Find. So this is often a time-consuming process if you're trying to map your legals by hand. Now I want to define some segments, and we have many available segment types. This segment will connect the section corner to the point of beginning of the polygon. So we will define a commencement segment. And then we're going to add it with this plus. And if we read the deed, the commencement segment measures south 45 degrees, 0 minutes, 0 seconds east for 4,000 feet. So I can click the south and click the east. And up here, I'll notice that my direction did not populate. This is on purpose to show you that sometimes there can be defects in the deeds, there can be scan problems. You can still go and manually correct things that you can't automatically populate. So let me enter south 45, 0, 0 east. And if I click save, you can see that the line connecting the section corner to the point of beginning has now been constructed. Now we'll switch over to the normal points and we will begin entering the bearings and distances that form the polygon. So the first thing I do is click plus, and then I click through the definitions. So north 0 degrees east for 500 feet, north 0 degrees east for 500 feet. Click save, and you can see over here that my segment was drawn. Then I just follow that rhythm for the rest of the points. And notice that the ones I've already done gray out. So I can easily keep track of where I was. This is a huge time savings if you've ever entered these by hand. And we keep going. 0 degrees east, 1,000 feet, and then the final one, north 81 degrees, 26 minutes, 31 seconds. For 80 feet, it enters properly, and we have what appears to be a closed polygon, but I'll refer you here. Most legal descriptions will have some sort of closure error that prevent it from being a precisely closed polygon, but you can double click on this last segment, and then it can auto close. There we go. So now we have the master polygon. Now this deed has an interesting complication in that there is a less than accept description here. So we'll want to actually subtract a piece from the master polygon. And we can basically follow the same process again. So the first thing we need to do is come back over here to plats and click new. And we're going to call this subplat or child plat, just less than accept. You may want to have your own naming convention. Click OK. And then I'm going to want to take that exception and link it back to the tutorial demo. Now, we also will want to go, we want to reestablish the origin point again. It could be different for a child plat. In this case, it's the same. So we'll follow the first two steps we had originally. And then again, we want to enter that commencement segment. So we click plus. And remember, we had this south 45 degrees for 4,000 feet. And again, there was the error, so I need to go correct that again. Save it. And now we will add the forward points for the less than accept. So let's click plus, 0 degrees east for 500 feet. We'll keep adding those. South 40 degrees east for 815 feet. And then the final one, 81, 26, 31 for 833 feet. You can see it draws up here. And again, we have a 0.4 foot segment that needs to be added to close the child plat.